Okay, so we're live and we're actually going live. And I ask you permission. I always go live at 11 Central, but my coach is starting in 10 minutes with Jasmine Starr in the group. And I plan to record this and my um, hyprotherapy. I'm getting these words. Sally, she's amazing. Uh, and so I was running late. And as an entrepreneur with integrity, you do the best you can. It's like, okay, I can't record it and post it and do it. So I'm just going to go live early, 10 minutes early, 20 minutes early. And then I'm going to go into my live event. Um, I had an amazing conversation because there's something magical that works. Like, there was something that one of my coaches said is like 1 plus 1 isn't like 4 plus 4 is not 8. Like, it's multiplied. So when a brilliant person gets together and you start talking, it multiplied. Like, it freaking loves multiplier. And okay, so I want to talk about this speech that I'm probably saying her name wrong. So I'm going to put her thing up here. And there's a link in the captions of her. Her book is so good. Well, I haven't read the book yet. I just listened to the podcast. And the whole thing that I was listening was like, no, yes, 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 yeah, these are the words that I'm looking for. Yes. Oh my goodness. Now, I want to say, warning, entrepreneurs parent different. We lead our children. They don't lead like as an entrepreneur. I'm disabled, and that's not excuses. It's a things that you need to know about me. You need to treat me different. I would love people to treat me different, and I'm finding the words to lead people to want to lead me and to help me because people see me as a pain in the ass, and as an entrepreneur, we parent different. We empower our children. We see them strong and capable. And my mom would always say, put on your grown-up underwear and get to work. Like Sally, who's doing my hyprotherapy, and she has so many things going on in her life, like big things. And she comes into this therapy glowing, like she was freaking glowing. So we're friends, so I know, but all I see is she glowing and her, this like, it's this like feeling of them. When you see someone and they just glow and you're like, it's like that. And this idea of like when you're having a hard time, help other people. Instead of going like, oh, poor me, my life's so horrible. Instead, you start helping other people. And it gets you out of yourself. That same one that I used to do of like, let me see this, like when you're in this place, and you're in this part, when you're down there and you put someone on your shoulder and you put the next one on their shoulder and you put them on their shoulder. And then you get to the top, and then they put down to help everyone else, right? So like this is what you do. And so the reason I'm pointing out that podcast, because she's talking about therapy and how damaging it can be. And there's so many studies finding how damaging therapy can do. If you don't hire the right person, they mess you up, and they mess you up good. And some of the things, like at about 15 minutes, there was something that it was like, bam, I can't believe this. And then about an hour in, but it's about 2 hours to watch this podcast, listen, podcast, thank you, talking to me, is this collaboration. Abigail Scherer, this girl, there's a link below. And she's not a therapy, she is independent journalist and author. And talking about, well, when you do something, you get results, right? And entrepreneur, we're always about numbers, right? So did you get the job done? There's numbers, there's proof. Like when when you do something, you can give proof. Why? Why can't you give proof? Like when I tell my kid to do something, you need to make sure there's a deadline. You need proof that it can be done. And then you look at the fact. There's no emotions. Did you get the job done or did it not? And it's the same with employees too. Like, here's the job. Did I train you to do everything you need to do? And if you failed, it's my fault because I didn't train you right. And then, is it measurable? And then there's no emotions. Did you get it done? Yes. No. And it's so good of feeling like there's so much psychology and okay. So when I do a project, I want to learn. So I take a class and then I do everything they say. And then the things that don't work, then I change it. But I start doing it exactly how they say. I know it makes no sense, but I hired this coach and I do it just like them. Unless my gut says no. So in this documentary, okay, I got 4 minutes left. In the podcast, oh, hey, so good to see ya. So in the podcast, the big things that is she was talking about the amount of parent alienating. That was one of the books that I read in the divorce from my co-parenting course that I took. And they told us of this book about parent alienating. 20% of people parent alienate their kid. And the Abrielle, she was talking about a lot of this parent alienating comes from the therapist. And 100% in my story, that's what happened, because the therapist that put the C's in their head and then it grew, right? You always start with an idea and then you decide to grow it or not. And in the podcast, they were talking about our parents were really hard, and the parents that have kids, so forgive my English for this, like talking about this sweet spot of parents now, they give our kids too much power. And why are we giving power for this child that's not ready? So this kid that they're not able to drive, but you can have surgery that's going to change their life for the rest of your life. And you get the kid whose brain has not formed to make these. That's why we have our parents. This is why our parents look after their kids till they're 20. And we need to teach them. My dad told me, when you graduate grade 12, you're out. You got it, because that's what I did. And this balance of 30-year-olds are living with their parents now because they don't feel they're capable. And there is character, no, not right word. There's different parts of the world where it's there's a culture. There's a culture where the mom, the dad, the grandma, everyone lives together in the family. But in Canada, in the US, like Canada and US, we don't. And there's a different, so I totally recommend, so I've got 2 minutes left here. I would recommend spending the 2 hours reading that, and leave comments below what you think about it. One of the big takeaways that I completely believe, and I don't believe everything they said, but they were saying that they had, when grown-ups use a therapist, there's my timing. I have to have timings for everything. Thank you for your patience. When you, as a grown-up, you go to a therapy, you have a lesson. Like I just did hypnotherapist. I had a mission. I was going to use it. I was going. And that's helpful. But when our kids do it, our kids tell them and make them go to therapist. And then they sit them in the sadness and they talk about it over and over and over and over. And they found that the results, they're not getting better. And this therapist is just taking the money from the parents. That's how their business works. And they found that instead of taking your kids in therapist, instead telling to suck it up and taking them in a sport, they had better results, and they had a whole bunch. Abrael was talking about these studies where people that had huge trauma, massive things out in their life, and they're telling like, oh, someone just said something bad about me, and oh, now I gotta leave. It's the hour. I really want to talk about this, but I'm going to go live. Hey, Kareen, sending you love. Okay, I'm going to go live for my coach because I don't want to be late. And have a wonderful day. And if you woke up today, we need you exactly who you are. Nobody else. We need you, like you. All right. Have a wonderful day. And I'm running late, and I like to show up 15 minutes early. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. All right. So I hope I said that. All right. Have a wonderful day.